A state of emergency in Western Europe was described as apocalyptic fires.
The fires are the latest disasters linked to prolonged drought and successive heat waves that scientists say have been intensified by climate change.
Local officials in the hard-hit Madrid region say these are the worst fires they have ever seen. More than 70,000 people evacuated there. In Gironde, France, more than 160,000 people evacuated. The fires devastating an area 3 times the size of Paris.
Europe's facing a fire season like it's never seen before, with features it's never seen before, like fire clouds, and I'll come on to those in a moment. But first, this is the situation, according to the latest satellite data of fires across the continent, pretty much everywhere. The week 15th to the 22nd of July saw the greatest area burned for any July week on record for the EU.
For the first time in Spain, wildfires have sparked a declaration of a national emergency. More than 90,000 people have been told to leave their homes or shelter in place.
Authorities say the evacuation operation now ranks among the biggest seen since World War II. The massive wildfires near Bordeaux have already scorched an area 4 times the size of Paris. And authorities in Italy's Gargano Peninsula say a large wildfire forced hundreds of tourists to evacuate. 2 water-dropping planes were seen helping fight the blaze that began outside the town of Peschici.
Of course, elsewhere closer to you, John, wildfires continue to burn in Canada and across the U.S., also in Italy and here in the U.K. A big fire happening right now in the Highlands in Scotland.
In central Spain, the view from above. As firefighters face similar conditions, new videos show the walls of flames and thick, dark smoke they're up against. As the region faces record heat, fires also breaking out in southern Italy, forcing the evacuation of popular beaches. Meanwhile, back at home, crews also battling fires in central Oregon as 104 million people remain under heat alerts nationwide. In South Carolina today, several inches of rain falling in just an hour, flooding roads. And in California, a tropical system in the Pacific is creating huge swells.
This is crazy. Holy cow, you guys.
You can see the tide washing over the parking lot at this beach outside LA.
The local mayor calls this fire in southwestern France a worst-case scenario. Every factor that can contribute to making this fire season worse has shown up at the same time. They've had little rain, strong winds, and very dry conditions.
Alors, cette année, les conditions de sécheresse sont exceptionnelles.
France's civil protection spokesperson says the drought conditions are worse than anyone fighting the fires remembers. In fact, they're the worst, he says, ever recorded. Now, the flames tend to grab the headlines, but this is a crisis that stretches far beyond the burn zones. Across Europe, relentless heat is deepening drought, drying forests, damaging crops, and draining rivers.
Earlier this summer, Western Europe experienced its hottest June on record. Meanwhile, conditions are expected to worsen later this week as another heat wave could surge temperatures to 40 degrees Celsius. That's 104 degrees Fahrenheit or more. Speaking Sunday, Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez warned of complicated hours ahead as Spain battles to control the blazes.
I think the scale of the disaster we are experiencing, unfortunately, once again in our country, is very difficult to comprehend. Yesterday, we reported that 130,000 hectares had been affected and burned so far this year. Today, less than 24 hours later, that figure has already risen to more than 150,000 hectares.
Footage posted online captures people watching trees explode in a suburb of Valencia. Not far from here, a man in his 70s was found dead in his car. Crews are being stretched to their limits. Resources are being flown in from Italy, Greece and Portugal.
In Hungary Friday, a major bridge over the Danube River had to be closed for a time after low water levels exposed a German Second World War shell. Bomb disposal technicians had to be brought in. Further down the Danube in Croatia, the low water levels have exposed a shipwreck. The Fulton was carrying coal when it sank in 1937. The town's mayor says no one, even the oldest residents, can remember the water being so low. Well, experts say what's made the drought so severe isn't simply a lack of rain, it's the heat. Extreme heat waves, one after another, are pulling moisture from rivers, soil, and vegetation faster than it can be replaced. That evaporation is causing problems across borders and economies. Low water levels on parts of the Rhine in Germany have meant some cargo ships can only run at 20% full, increasing costs. In agriculture, there are estimates drought will cost farmers an estimated 9 million tons of grain. Scientists say extreme heat is changing the way drought forms in Europe. Increasingly, it's not just about the rain that fails to fall, but the water the heat takes away.
The fire, which started earlier this week, has reached an unprecedented strength. The French Interior Minister has described the battle ahead as long and very difficult. In neighbouring Spain, homes on the outskirts of Madrid went up in flames. In the country's capital, in the nearby province of Avila, fires prompted the evacuation of nearly 70,000 people. For the first time, the government declared a national emergency as two huge blazes merged. Officials say a third fire is on the verge of joining them. Unfortunately for Spain and France, there is little relief in sight. Scorching temperatures are expected next week, and it's feared the strong winds that have fueled these fires will remain.
Some leaving in the middle of the night, with wildfires burning out of control on the outskirts of Bordeaux. It's a somewhat anxious situation, says this resident, because it's the first time I've experienced this kind of situation. About 100,000 hectares have been impacted by fire in France alone, destroying forests, homes and cars. Even a military cargo plane has been repurposed to strike ahead of the fire front.
The situation in France reveals that they have seen already breaking all records for the not just the number of fires that they record compared to average, but also the extent of wildfires as well, the amount of area burned. And the other thing they're seeing in France, which has complicated the efforts to fight it, are something called pyrocumulonimbus. That's a fire cloud. These have only really been documented before in very intense wildfires in North America and in Australia. And what's happening here is the heat generated by that intense wildfire, fueled by forests in this Gironde area, is taking hot air high into the atmosphere, up to 9 kilometres high, drawing winds in below it and creating very similar conditions that you see during a thunderstorm. Those winds can essentially create the fire's own weather system, making them very hard to predict and manage. But they can also, if it gets intense enough, cause lightning strikes, dry lightning, no rain, which is the downside here, but that lightning can cause subsequent fires. That's something authorities in France haven't seen before. The scale of this fire, something they haven't dealt with in recent history, and fits very much in the models that climate scientists put out for what is still the fastest warming continent on the planet, Europe, right now.